Every episode of No Offsides podcast is brought to you by Champion Hockey. Be a champion. This episode is also brought to you by US Roller Cup, a revolution in roller. Check out all of these USRC tournaments. How about Kapolei, Hawaii, February 14th to the 17th, 2025. This annual tournament series will be found on the white sandy beaches of Kapolei, Hawaii. Come for an epic weekend of roller hockey, and don't forget to enjoy the 5-star resorts, immaculate fairways, deep sea fishing, scuba diving, and so much more. February 14th to the 17th, 2025, Ring of Fire in Kapolei, Hawaii.
His stick and a shot, they score! Dylan Guy wins it in overtime! The Lopes, national champions!
Guys, here with Aydin Schwetz, the captain, coming over from Lindenwood, the transfer, and just tell us how this feels.
There are no words. They can call us crazy, they can call us dumb, they can call us insane, but they can never call us loser.
Well, that's a statement and a half. Back up to you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2024
No offside.
Here we go.
Welcome back for a bonus episode of No Offsides, where we talk roller hockey, sponsored by Champion Hockey. I'm Dan Dean here with my partner, Justin Wood.
What's up?
Our guest today is here representing your Division I roller hockey champions, the captain of the GCU Lopes, Aydin Schwetz. How you doing, Aydin?
Thank you guys so much for having me. Very, very honored to be here.
Yeah,
man.
Followed, the entire NCRHA Division I season, and followed y'all on Instagram and social media and stuff like that. And it just, some are calling y'all's run a Cinderella story, right? I mean, you took down the undefeated Lindenwood University. No one thought it would happen. So, I mean, that's. We had to have someone represent it, and what better not than the captain, right? I mean,
very much appreciate it. Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of things online calling it Miracle on Tile, which I think is the coolest title of all time. And I'm gonna say it's fitting because why not? It's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, before we get into the Cinderella story, right? We want to talk about GCU in general, right? Why have this roller hockey team at Grand Canyon University? What came about it? Like, what's so special about GCU?
Why dedicate your life to it? Yeah,
Great,
you threw everything for it.
Threw absolutely everything at it. So it's a pretty long story. I've done full podcasts like on the Bronson Show. Where I got into like the nitty gritty of why I left Lindenwood and why I was not, totally happy being over there. But I'm going to summarize that part just really short, not to throw any disrespect to Lindenwood by any means. Long story short, I was actually one semester at Arizona State to start with. And then COVID hit and they shut down. So I transferred to Lindenwood. I did 2 seasons at Lindenwood, won a Division IV national championship, which is now called Division AA. but I just was essentially underwhelmed in the amount of opportunities provided at what was being presented to me as the Alabama of collegiate roller hockey. I was anticipating a lot more. And now that's not to say that they're not still the best collegiate program out there, because they still absolutely are. They give hundreds of thousands in scholarships, and they got, all the resources in the world, and they win national championships all the time. So obviously I'm not taking anything about that away from it. But when I was going there, I was definitely anticipating a lot more little details to be focused on, a lot more being treated like an NCAA athlete that I didn't really experience. So there was one incident during a tournament, I believe it was in Broomall, Pennsylvania, during my second year, where I kind of just realized that if I wanted to experience collegiate roller hockey the way that I wanted to experience it, at the level I wanted to experience it at, I had to leave and go somewhere else. And when I first came to this realization, I was looking at all these other programs. I was like, well, no shade at any of these other collegiate roller hockey programs, but Lindenwood is the best, and there's nowhere else I'm going to go from there that's any better than where I'm at right now. So if I want to go higher, I got to start my own thing. So I looked everywhere. I looked across the entire country. I was looking everywhere from Shippensburg University, that has this tiny little street rink on their campus, all the way to places near where my parents live. And the reason I found GCU was because I was playing for a PIHA team called the Arizona Impact Coyotes that was flying me and one of my teammates, Brett Worcester, out from Lindenwood about once a month to play in these PIHA games. And I had lived in Arizona once before to play for ASU, but I was living in an Airbnb with a Vietnamese family during COVID. So I didn't really get to experience Arizona so much. So when I kept getting flown out, these were really the first times I actually got to fall in love with the area. And boy, oh boy, did I fall in love with it. I mean, Arizona is so beautiful. There's so many things to do out here. There's an unbelievable roller hockey community out here that a lot of people don't know about. And I was looking around at schools. I found GCU because it was near Phoenix, and I found out that they had a rink on campus, like a full-size rink on campus with tile. So to me, that was the bell ringing in my head. Like, this is going to be the biggest selling point to prospective players, that we have a rink on campus. And, Lindenwood doesn't have a rink on campus. Bethel has a rink, but it's 30 minutes away from campus. These other schools that have rinks on campus are really like multi-athletic courts, and they're not tile. Like, I think Kennesaw State has one, and Syracuse University has one, both D3 schools. So this was really going to be the closest that anyone could get to having a real full-blown rink on campus. Actually, it's not true. Kansas State has one, but they didn't even have a team this year. So
Interesting.
they have a real rink on campus that's even more so than we do. But so that was really what sold it to me. And then so when I gave the pitch to the school, it was actually, I was still at LU, and it was during a PIHA weekend. Me and my buddy Alex were up until like 8 o'clock in the morning putting together this pitch deck, and we basically just threw everything at them. Like, we want to create the greatest collegiate roller hockey program of all time. We want to treat it like an NCAA Division I program. We're going to spend a bunch of money. I'm putting a bunch of my own money into this. Alex is putting a bunch of money, his own money into this. We're going to have sponsors. We're going to do media. We're going to have a full-blown staff. Like, we're going to go balls to the wall as much as humanly possible. This is going to be the most professional program you've ever seen. And they were like, this is fantastic. Absolutely, come do this. And they were like signing me up for classes like while I was in this meeting. I'm like, hold on. I still go to Lindenwood. Like, I got to talk to my coaches first. Like, I was just like, they were jumping the gun. And so that's how it all started. And then from there, I spent my entire summer with Alex just cold calling players the whole summer. We were making social media posts and cold calling players. We were aiming for like guys that were not currently in college that we know are really good, guys who we know were upset with their situations in college or had already left, players like Xavion McCovey, who had already left Bethel University. was living in Colorado. We got him to come. Kids like Patrick Mahoney, who we got to leave Lindenwood. He actually never ended up coming to GCU, but he left Lindenwood for that purpose. And we had a full roster about 2 weeks before our first season started. Like we had like 10, 11 skaters, 2 goalies. 2 weeks before school started, half of that roster bailed, like 5 or 6 skaters, and both goalies, and we were screwed. We were freaking out. We pulled it together. We had a tryout and picked up 2 more guys. We ended up going into the season with 7 skaters and 2 goalies, both goalies that we picked up within those 2 weeks before school started. One of which being one of my hometown buddies, Jay Pacheco, that I grew up with and I've been playing with since I was 4 years old. I got him I got him to leave welding school to come play collegiate roller hockey. Yeah, I know.
He can always go back to doing that.
He can always go back. Yeah, he's got to go get his MIG certification, but I don't even know if he wants to do that anymore. I think he wants to go play in Europe after college. But
Nice.
so then from there, we also had 2 coaches who both bailed right before the season started. We played the entire first semester with a 19-year-old girl named Tenley Shulock who couldn't even spell the word roller hockey.
Nice.
Had no idea what it was. She was our strength and conditioning coach. And once both of our coaches bailed, I was like, "Hey, Tenley, do you want to be the first Division I collegiate roller hockey female coach ever?" And she's like, "Hell yeah."
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
she did, and she led our first weekend. We went 4-0, beat ASU, beat University of Arizona, Cal Poly, and Fullerton. And it was the biggest celebration. And I mean, I could talk for hours about every single weekend from there to here, but that was how everything came to be and how everything started. It was a desire to create a program that and it's in my Instagram bio. It's been in there for years. This is the phrase of the year is give a shit. You have to give a shit because there's too many people in the sport of roller hockey who don't. There are too many people who look at roller as a hobby, as a vacation, as a secondary to the sport of ice. But to me, and I wanted to create a place where it was not secondary, it was primary, and it was what we wanted to focus on and what we wanted to dedicate our lives to. And we were lucky enough to find a bunch of other players who felt the same way and create a national championship winning program.
So this is, let me make sure I heard you right, 2 years in the making?
Yes. This is just our second season as a collegiate program. So last year we got kicked in quarterfinals at nationals down in Irvine, and to ASU that we had lost the conference championships to as well. And then this year, winning the conference title in 2 games, and then obviously the national title in triple overtime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at stats here, right? And for regular season, you got a bunch of you guys putting up some pretty big numbers here, right? You know, your team led by just in points is you and Ruben, right? And then Frisk is right there behind him, and then Cameron Bennett, right? And so, you know, you guys put in the work. You picked up some solid players here. I mean, was it Frisk is now going to be playing for the champion Wheelers now in the pro division. So that's pretty sweet.
So Frisk and our goalie Max and Ruben all play for Pure Maple during the pro series. Frisk is just playing for the Wheelers in like the smaller tournaments out here that Pure Maple doesn't come down for.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that they're up to like 19 or 20 skaters right now. So he wanted to be one of them, and
Nice.
and our the goalie Ryan Meltzer's also on that roster.
Okay.
But yeah, we actually one of the things that we did in regular season that I think was super cool was we were the only team to have a player on every single leaderboard, and the reason for that in reality is because Lindenwood doesn't face any shots. So one of those leaderboards is saves. Yeah. And that's the one leaderboard that Lindenwood doesn't have a goalie on because they see 5 shots a game.
Yeah.
So, but it is a true statement. We are the only team that had a player on every leaderboard, which I think was really cool. And that you're looking at stats.
Yeah. I mean, because you're looking at Pacheco, right? And Pacheco ended with a 90% save percentage. I mean, yeah, I mean, say with 239 saves, right, and 24 goals against in the regular season. I mean, it looks like you guys shared the net a little bit here between Meltzer and Pacheco.
And Max. Yeah.
And Max, yeah. And so, like, it's great that you have trust in all three goalies just in regular season. And would you guys go 17-3 or something like that in the regular season? I think it was
a little better than that. I think it was 22-1-2. I want to say through conference championships. We had one regulation loss to U of A, 2 overtime losses. To U of A, and then we didn't lose another one until Lindenwood in round robin.
Yes, yeah. I had playoffs in Corona separated from that number.
Oh,
so,
gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like during the regular season you had 3 losses to AU, right? I mean, what made them so difficult early on in the regular season? Is it just chemistry or?
So, one thing that we did this season that we, 1, didn't do last year, and 2, nobody did this year, was we took our season and we condensed the entirety of it to the second semester.
Mm-hmm.
With the exception of 3 games that were played in Tucson, where 4 of our players were in Brazil for that NCRHA All-American team, one of which was including me, McKenna Cooper, and Dylan Guy and Ryan Meltzer were all gone in Brazil. We had Bryden Frisk and Ruben, who were, sorry, I have 2 of my teammates right to my right now.
Oh, you're good.
And Santi wasn't there. Ruben wasn't there. I mean, we were kind of running a skeleton crew for those 3 games. One of those games was against U of A, where that skeleton roster ended up losing 5-0 to that U of A team. That was the one regulation loss. But then to their credit, second semester comes around. We did lose to U of A twice in overtime, with a full roster with everybody there. In my opinion, I think it was multiple things. The biggest thing was we started second semester. We went into our first games of the year with 2 practices under our belt. We were kind of trying to speed run the season. Mm-hmm. Which we were forced to. We really didn't have a choice. We had a lot of players who just simply couldn't afford to go to school for 2 semesters. They could only afford the second semester, or their visa didn't get approved in time, or there was a million different reasons that we had to do it. So going into those couple U of A games, just didn't have the chemistry yet, didn't have the experience under our belt, didn't have the team bonding. When we finally ended up beating them, I think we ended up beating them 2 or 3 times. It was later in the season when we finally had enough practices under our belt. We had plays to run. We had that chemistry built. We had done some team bonding. And I think that last win was actually by a decent margin. I want to say 3, 4, 5 goals when we finally came together and we're figuring it out. So yeah, that's really where those losses came from. But you know what? U of A is an incredible program. They have a lot of very, very, very good players, and a lot of young, good players are going to be good for a long time. I hope and wish that they move up to Division I, which would be a big benefit to us as well. I think there's going to be a lot of divisional movement this summer that a lot of teams are not expecting quite yet. And I think it's going to be for the good, and hopefully we end up with a couple more Division I teams, with them being one of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's great to hear, because I mean, it seems like every year there's more and more teams joining collegiate roller, right? I mean, D3 division is huge, which is awesome to see. I mean, there's, I think, over 30 teams now. And as you get higher and higher, it gets smaller and smaller, which understandable, right? I mean, I guess I want to touch on, like, and this is actually a question from someone that we pulled off Instagram, and it's what are your thoughts on recruiting in college roller, and does social media have a great effect on recruitment?
Sure. So social media is everything when it comes to recruitment. Like when you that was all that we had to start with social media. And I've been doing social media management and graphic design for just about 10 years now. Actually 11 years now that I'm looking at the year. And it was all we had as a recruitment tool. When I was going up to people in person, And they were looking at me like I was crazy. Like, what do you mean you're starting a Division I team from scratch? Are you out of your mind? And I probably was, but that's okay because it ended up working out.
Yeah.
But when we took to social media and we made everything look super professional, and we had professional signing graphics and professional videos of our exhibition games and we had a videographer on the bench. We had, graphic designers set in place. We had social media managers. We made it look as professional as humanly possible. Then people were looking at it as, oh, this is a dope program. Like, it didn't matter that we were brand new. It mattered that we looked cool. And we had really clean uniforms.
Agreed.
At least the purples. Looking back, those white ones the first season were not super great. But we had, we had the giant lope on the helmet that our ice hockey team hasn't been able to figure out in 15 years. Until this year, of course, when we figured it out. We wanted to make it look as NCAA, as big as possible. And that was what that's what really helped with the recruitment. I mean, even the small details. I'm a big small details person. I wanted to make everything purple. Everything had to be purple. So our hockey bags had to be purple because I knew that when these kids are going to these tournaments, they go to NCRHA, they go to tours, they go to State Wars. No one has purple bags.
Yeah, no.
But when you set that purple bag down, they know who you play for, and if they don't, they're gonna ask. And that's how you get the word of mouth spreading around. Our T-shirts were purple. We made shorts that were purple. Everything was purple, and because I wanted to claim that color, and because I know Bethel University is purple, but they have a lot of things that are like black, white, and yellow, and I wanted to staple that down as we're the purple team, and everyone's gonna know us as the purple team with the giant lope on the purple helmets. And so with the branding is so unbelievably important. Social media is unbelievably important. I mean, after just our first year, when we didn't even, make it crazy far, got knocked in quarterfinals at the college prospect camp at Farm Tough, we were the #1 most requested team by all these college prospect kids who in reality, they'd only ever seen us maybe on a live stream or seen an Instagram post, which was that was the things I knew that we could do better than Lindenwood from the hop. Was live streams and social media, and we did, and it worked. So, and we're going to continue to do it. We're going to do it even better now that we have copious amounts of content, and I have a lot more time on my hands now that the season is over, and I'm graduating in a couple of days, and the media coming out is going to be next level. So it's unbelievably important, and it's something that anybody can do.
Now, you already have awesome stuff on Instagram, and
appreciate that.
You've created a brand, like you said, but you've also created a culture, right? And that's something that sticks out to me a lot with a lot of teams. And, well, it doesn't actually stick out with a lot of teams, but it sticks out the most amongst teams. The teams that have a real vibe with them. And you guys have done that. I mean, you've done some pretty fun, even adverts for some companies. The one where Buddy slides out and you drag him to get him keep going. That was hilarious. I loved it.
Appreciate that.
But, you're talking earlier about coming together as a team. Was that the culture that you guys all came together underneath? Was that a lot of you? Is that a lot of you and your buddy you started it with and it just kind of caught on? Or was it everybody kind of adding in on their own and just that group of boys created this culture?
Sure. So from the beginning, there was a lot of things I wanted to instill in our culture from day one. And those pillars were give a shit. You have to give a shit. You have to care a lot more than anybody else. I wanted to instill traditions. And as many traditions as I could. And we have a lot of those to this day.
Name a couple.
In fact, sure. So at the end of whatever it might be, end of a weekend, end of a championship, end of a tournament, we always are, having extracurriculars, and we stand in a circle, arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, and we sing Something in the Orange by Zach Bryan, and we've been doing it for 2 years. Every player knows every single word, even the Colombian, even the Canadians, even the kids that don't like country, they know every single word. In fact, our coach actually posted it. So we usually do it at the end of things. But going into that national championship game, and I'll backtrack here, but just to point on this, going into that national championship game, we had already accomplished everything we had set out to accomplish. We had made Lindenwood care about playing for us. We had turned the fans to be on our side and give a shit about the game and give a shit about Division One. We had, name it. We beat Bethel in a semifinal. We made it farther than we had ever made it before. We had an unbelievable record. We won a Western Conference championship. We had already set out everything we had done to do this season. So the national championship game was a cherry on top. It was a celebration. It was, let's go out and have as much fun as humanly possible. So I wanted to do the song before the game started. So we did it in our uniforms in the locker room beforehand, and we locked arm in arm, and we sang the entirety of that 3-minute and 12-second song.
Yes, sir.
And honestly, I think it was a big part of like calming our nerves and going into it with smiles and high energy. And anyways, we have tons of other ones. In the locker room, we do a chant before every single game, whether we play Lindenwood or we play, a low end Division III team. It's a repeat after me. It's a callback chant. It's called "Why Not Us?" So why not us. And it comes from a speech that I gave at the very beginning of the first season, which was basically about, why not us? Like, you want to win a Division I national championship? Why can it not be us? You want to beat Lindenwood? Why not us? You want to be treated like an NCAA player? You want to have as much opportunity as humanly possible? Why not us? Why does it have to be somebody else? It can be anybody, and it can absolutely be us. And that's the phrase that we've been drilling into everybody's heads through our chants through these last 2 years. I think, and then we do like a rookie party at the beginning of every year. We do, there's a lot of them, but those are a couple of the ones that come up at the top of my head.
Very cool.
But yeah, so tradition is a huge part of the culture. And then there's this part of GCU that was already there before I got here, where if you look at like our basketball team and our student section, we have an insane amount of school pride. Like Texas high school football level school pride, bleed purple. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've been to tons of colleges. I've been to tons of sports games. Like, no one does school pride like GCU does school pride. It's a cult. It is absolutely a cult. It is unbelievable. Go to any college campus in the world, you're not going to see 50% of the students wearing purple t-shirts. You go to our campus on any Tuesday, and half of the students at least are wearing GCU branded items. It's crazy. And they just love the school because it's so awesome. And so, yeah, I think those are a lot of the things. And then, of course, bringing in players that have that same mindset of caring a whole lot about the sport and making it a primary factor in their life and a primary objective and priority in their life just makes the culture significantly better and ties everything together. And really is the reason that we were able to accomplish something so amazing this year, is we cared more. That's really all it is. I mean, if you want to look it down on paper, Lindenwood, they were bigger than us. They were better than us. They were faster than us. They were stronger than us. They had more points. They had more resources. They had more players. They had more experience. They had more championships. But I can say fully with my heart that they did not care more than we did. And so, and that's why. And culture is unbelievably important.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I absolutely believe in that. Now, with culture, I mean, how does GCU roller hockey, through how you guys care about the sport and care about the school and care about winning and being a team and everything like that, how do you relay that into a practice?
Sure.
In your daily kind of like weekly routine?
Absolutely. So we practice 3 days a week. We work out together twice a week, which is, I want to point on that for a second. As far as I know, we are the only collegiate roller hockey team that works out together. We have a club sports gym that is gorgeous with state-of-the-art equipment that we have access to whenever we want. We reserve the time, but we can do it whenever we want. And so I think that that's a big part of it, that we go that extra mile and do work out together as a team. We do 2 days a week at our actual home facility, which is the Peoria Sportsplex. And then we have one on-campus practice. Practice is a strong word, to be honest with you. It's more of a guys get together and screw around, no coaches, captain's practice type thing, a lot of scrimmaging for fun. I think a lot of it goes into making sure you're on time to practices. We all are wearing the correct practice jerseys, which a lot of teams don't do. Smaller details like that. We also, as far as like the practice thing goes, one of the big parts of it is we do all the extra stuff. And what I mean by that is, whether it's on rink or off rink, if there is an opportunity for us to do something extra, whether it benefits us or it benefits the roller community as a whole or benefits someone else, I'm going to make them do that. And it's not a democracy. This is a dictatorship at GCU. There is no other say other than the administrative staff. And that's the way it has to be. If you're running a collegiate roller hockey team out there and you're running it as a democracy, you're doing it wrong. So for example, like this year we were given the opportunity to go to Nashville as an extra trip. It was optional. It wasn't optional. It was not on the schedule. We absolutely took that opportunity. And on top of that, we actually had to take a different opportunity to play down in Yuma, Arizona, at Nick Boyarski's IHA's youth event to raise enough money to go to Nashville. So we ended up doing 2 extra events in order to make them both happen, which is perfect. By the way, the Yuma College Bowl, I don't know if you ever got to see any part of that. It was an outdoor game we played on an outdoor rink against a bunch of Yuma alumni roller players. We had 350 people in the stands of that game.
Damn.
We had 355.
That's
and
awesome.
It was electric. They were cheering for Yuma like crazy. We scored our first goal, it was like a minute and a half into the game. And we went into this game thinking they were going to be cheering us on because we're the college team, we're the big boys, whatever. The second we all scored, just 350 8 to 12-year-old kids, boo, screaming their heads off. And we're all looking at each other like, what is going on? Why are we getting booed? And that happened the whole game. I mean, I don't even remember what the score was, but we won by a pretty large margin. And
oh no,
they had a player on their team who's like the god of roller hockey in Yuma, Arizona. His name's Jack Allen. And every single time he was not on the rink, you just hear 350 kids screaming, "We want Jack! We want Jack!" It was so much fun. But taking advantage of those extra opportunities to play more games, to go in front of more people, to reach out to more youth players, extend our fan base, extend our friends and our network. And we are always going to take those opportunities. We did it last year when we went to Denver. We played Rob Woods' team, Denver Demon Dogs, a couple times. We played the Lakewood Fire. We played the Parker Prowlers, a bunch of IHA teams. We do exhibition games here at home. There's 2 men's league teams out here that we exhibition at least once per season. Last year we played them multiple times. This year, just the once, because we had a really condensed schedule. We couldn't really get any more than that in there. We do the ice versus roller hockey game every year, which is an extra event that, it's not necessarily you have to do, but it helps add to the culture, and it helps add to, we're going to do all the extra stuff because we care this much. And, why not? Why? Who doesn't want to play an outdoor game on campus in front of all of their fellow students? Yeah. We had both last year and this year, our rink goes right up against a parking garage. We had people hooping and hollering from the top of the parking garage watching down on our game. I mean, it's a blast. And when you care this much and you do all the extra things, it just makes it so much fun. So.
Well, and it seems like you're just the people on campus, and the GCU community is just insane, and they love everything all the sports and everything on campus. So that helps, because then you get the backing between the school population, and not only that, but you convince just the higher ups to allow you guys to have a team too.
Yes, absolutely. The culture of GCU is definitely added on to what we've been able to do. I mean, when you're building a team that's mainly men and you have a campus with 6 pools, 4 jacuzzis, and 80% women, you can't go wrong. I mean, 4-1 girls to guys. If that's not going to convince you to come here, then I don't know what will.
All right, anyone going into college that wants to play D1 roller, that's your sell right there.
I mean, it was actually kind of funny. The first summer that I was here, I lived on campus, and the rink that we have on campus is in between where a lot of the dorms are and the closest pool. So you have people in, bikinis and bathing suits walking back and forth right in front of the rink. And when our pucks go over, we got to yell at them to go grab the pucks for us, but usually just over the summer. And it's just such a fun time out here. I mean, you got palm trees all over the place and it's sunny, and I mean, you can't beat it.
Now, does it rain much on your campus? With
only typhoon season?
Yeah, we got monsoons and haboobs, if you know what those are. Dust devils. It's every once in a while. I think this year we actually got a little bit more rain than last year, and so it's not like totally dry. But honestly, the biggest gripe that a lot of people have with the state of Arizona is it's so hot, but in reality, it's really like 6 weeks. It's like the last 4 weeks of summer and the first 2-3 weeks of school where, it's pretty freaking hot. It's not going to drop below 100 even at nighttime. But then you get, 3 weeks into school and it's over.
Yeah.
And, you don't, and then it's fine. So yeah, our tryout camp is pretty hard. It's pretty hot, but after that you're good. Like you just need to get through that first 2 weeks and then everything is hunky dory.
Yeah, now, I used to live down there actually, so I know exactly what you're talking about, man. I lived out there in Tempe.
There you go. Absolutely, yeah. We're 35 minutes away from Tempe.
I can imagine that. Do you guys have lights at your rink?
On campus rink? Yeah, we do.
Oh, dude, night games there have to be so fun.
Yeah, that's why we do the ice roller game. Is we do an outdoor nighttime game under the lights.
Oh yeah.
Friday night, against the ice hockey team, it's an absolute blast, and we promote the crap out of it. I mean, our first year we had 155 people out there watching. This year was a little bit less, but we had some other focuses in the marketing department than the ice roller game, so we had to get ready for that. But we were able to still pull through a really cool event. But yeah, I mean, our rink is open till 11:30 at night, and kids use it on just about every single day. It's not good enough to be playing like NCRHA games on. It's pretty slippery. Like it's not the greatest tile in the world, but it's there. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
I definitely shoot pucks. I shoot 150 pucks on it damn near every day. And so do a lot of the other players. So it's an absolutely valuable asset that we're very lucky to have.
Yeah. I mean, that's all. I mean, just like you said, your first year you lived in the dorm, walk or skate out your dorm and then go there and shoot pucks. I mean,
it was incredible. I lived, for anyone that knows anything about GCU, I lived in the Agave building, which is the closest building to the rink. And you are right. I would put on my outdoor skates and I would skate from my dorm with a duffel bag and a stick. And in 30 seconds, I would be at the rink and shoot pucks and skate back. It was incredible.
Nice.
That's the dream.
That's the dream.
Now you've talked about your jerseys a little bit. I have to say, there's only two teams that I like pinstripes on. That's GCU and that's the Roadrunners.
Okay.
And so, there's teams that out there trying to pull it off. I'm sorry, everyone, if you're listening or watching. I'm not a fan of your pinstripes. Just stop. Please stop.
So the reason I went with there was a very specific reason I went with the pinstripes. And the reason was I knew that if we were going to try and achieve everything that we were setting out to achieve from the beginning, we would not have been able to grow the fan base with a uniform that is super roller hockey. You know what I mean? If we went super crazy and we had a bunch of different stuff on it, like a lot of other people do, we were not going to be able to create a regular hockey fan base of fans wearing our jersey outside of games or outside of the rink, as opposed to if we were to create something more simple. And I didn't want to go super ice hockey where it was crazy basic, like GCU going down at an angle like the Rangers, or going so super simple like that. So I wanted to go something in the middle. And honestly, the team that I think did it the best actually was the Farm Tough Pro Team red jerseys. The red uniforms.
Okay.
I think it was the Farm Tough Freeze. That did it at State Wars, I want to say.
Yeah, that was more recently, right?
It was more recent.
Yeah.
Those were perfect. And hopefully you can find a photo of them. They did the cursive across the chest. The pinstripes were spaced out a little bit more than on other uniforms. Shout out Dylan Dale for those. I think was the one that inspired those designs. But yeah, that was where I was going with it. Like there was very specific in my intentions. And again, I'm a very big, small detail person. I had to make sure that fans would want to wear something like this, and it wasn't too crazy, but it also wasn't too ice hockey, and it was something in the middle, and that's where we landed.
Now, what are the? Because I actually didn't even know that GCU had an ice hockey team. What are their jerseys like?
So prior to this year, they were super basic, super stock from AK Jersey, website or whatever.
Yeah.
Just stripes on the bottom, GCU in the arch, the old GCU logo. And I don't even think they had purples last year. I think they had blacks and whites, which again, everything had to be purple. We needed the full purples. We needed purple gloves. We needed purple helmets. We tried to get purple sticks. I tried to get purple skate wraps. Like everything had to be purple. And so of course this year, after we upstaged them like crazy with our uniforms, with the big helmets and the big stickers and the purple uniforms, they redid all their stuff. They got new uniforms this year. They got bigger stickers on the helmets. They didn't do purple though. They stick to their whites, so we still have that upper hand on them.
Nice.
But their uniforms are a lot cooler this year. They did a really cool release of them as well. They got a little bit of the Grand Canyon in the background. They got 3 crosses on a mountain. That was something I added to this year's uniforms too, was we actually have a cross on our thigh, but it's so high up on the thigh that it's covered by the jersey. And my dad threw a fit a little bit because I'm Jewish, if you didn't know that. Saying I was the one putting the cross on the uniform, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, that's what's going on with the GCU ice hockey uniforms. But they did do purple gloves this year, so they got a little bit of an upgrade.
Well, I mean, I don't know who you're running sticks through, but I'm sure Champion could skin you some purple sticks.
Yes, we he actually just texted me yesterday congratulating me on the win, or it might have been this morning. I think it was yesterday. And one text prior was him doing a mock-up of GCU roller sticks with the pinstripes on the stick.
Oh.
I don't even think I saw the text message, and I never responded to him, so I'm going to get back to him on that. But yeah, if there's an opportunity, I mean, we're very blessed to have a couple of sponsors now who really invest in us and support us with wheels and gloves and skates and things like that. So got to make sure we're not stepping on any toes and pissing people off. But the more companies we can help promote, the more people we can help. I'll take 2 seconds to throw this out there. We, in the last week, I think we have over 100,000 impressions on our Instagram. When Bronson's going, we have a bunch of different pages that we're associated with. Roller Culture belongs to us. Good Roller belongs to us. Lopes Roller belongs to us. Bronson Roller belongs to us. USA Roller Hockey belongs to us. Not USA Roller Sports, is different. So between all of those Instagram pages and all the reach that we have, when everything's firing on all pistons, we have about 500,000 impressions every month on Instagram. So if you're a sponsor out there that's looking to get involved, those videos that we do with GCU, we can do those for you too. That's, that the one video of Warren getting dragged while he's sliding out, for Labeta. And then the next one we did for Alkali. We now have a lot more time and resources to be making a lot more of those videos. We are thankful to be sponsored by Impact Environmental, who has been instrumental from the beginning. That's the parishes, the Peoria Sportsplex, the Kelly family, Alkali, Labeta, Good Roller, Tier Sport, the swimwear brand, who just did a bunch of stuff for us. So thank you.
You guys do a calendar?
Oh, okay. So I'm so glad you brought that up. So there is a cat club on our campus. Okay, our school owns a bunch of cats. Okay, and we have a cat park on our campus where they all live, and these cats just spread around the campus and they do their own thing. But the school pays for them. They pay for their food. They pay them to get spayed and neutered, and they have a club that runs the whole thing. And I happen to be very, very, very good friends with the girl who runs that club. So I don't know why that just unfocused, but we were this close to doing a cat calendar photo shoot in the uniforms on the park with the cats as a fundraiser, and we just ran out of time. I just had too many things to do.
Now you got to do the swimwear with the cats.
Swimwear with the cats. So bathing suits and cats.
Yeah,
I think we can
go.
bring them to the pool. That'd be perfect. I love that's a great idea, actually. Great idea.
You got to hit all the sponsors.
Exactly. I say go for it. Bring back the cat calendar.
I'm down. We're always gonna need more money. In case anybody didn't know this, our school gives us zilch. We get two things from the university. We get to use the vans for free, but we still pay for the gas, and we get use of the club sports gym. Everything else is completely. I mean, our first year, between our three main sponsors came out like $30,000 out of pocket to pay for the season, and we still had to charge a small little team fee to go through nationals. This year we spent even more than that, and we get absolutely nothing from the university. It's completely self-funded. It's through donors and people who love the ideology of what we're doing, and or they want to see their kid end up playing here eventually. And so if you would like to help us out in any way, whether it's as a sponsor or as a donor, please reach out to us. It's tax deductible. So
nice. So always a good talking point there. But yeah, I mean, so I kind of want to hit on, because we've talked about you being captain, right? And you setting kind of, this is how we want the team to be ran. This is, and so, I mean, you played for Team USA, you played for the NCRHA Selects, right? And so you've done a little bit of travel and played some high level international roller. I mean, does that go into kind of like who you are as a person and kind of did it help mold you to be who you are and kind of go in this direction?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If anyone who's listening to this has ever been lucky enough to play an international event wearing the red, white, and blue, then you know that that's a life-changing experience, no matter where you go or what you do or what the outcome of the tournament is. I think the first time that I got to put on the red, white, and blue, it was kind of an interesting situation. So USARS announced the team going to the World Games, and by some miracle of the hockey gods, I was the first or second alternate player on that roster. And I'm talking like with the main roster being Travis Noe, Billy Pascali, Nick Delmore, like people like that. I have no delusions of grandeur. I had no business being on that roster as an alternate. But by some miracle that happened. And so when there was an opportunity for the South American Games to have a USA team, I resubmitted, and they picked a roster, and then the games moved up like 4 months because of the World Games. So it was 4 months sooner than it was originally going to be. And because of that, USARS was like, you know what, we're not going to do this. It's too soon. We can't pull it off. And keep in mind, this is the first time I've been picked for a USA roster. And so one of my buddies was also picked, Alex Parrish. And we're sitting there like, whoa. Yo, we're going. Like, I don't care what you say. You named us to this damn roster. We are going to Argentina. Yeah. So we convinced them to let us do everything. We ran the whole thing. We made every plan. We scheduled everything. We made the entire itinerary. I mean, we did all of the things that are required to pull off an international event like this. We repicked a roster. We made everyone meet in Houston. We made the travel plans to Argentina. It was a nightmare of a traveling situation. It was supposed to take us 18 hours to get there. It took us 48 hours to get there.
Oh, crap.
And then it took us 52 hours to get back. We missed multiple flights. We had to change multiple cities. But you know what? that experience, going through all that adversity, getting half that team was college Lindenwood players, mostly AA kids actually at the time. And then we had like Ryan Marker, who was instrumental in all that, and Julio Fernandez and Alex Parrish. And so going through that experience, having to wear all those hats, manage the team, start the team, build a culture over the course of just one small tournament, do it internationally, going in and out of the country, dealing with all those extra things, that absolutely taught me a million different lessons that I was able to take and make the Brazil trip with the NCRHA All-American team even that much better, prepare kids for it a little bit better. And I was able to bring it to GCU and really instill in everybody how important the small details were, because it was the small details that made both of those trips happen. I mean, for example, like going to Brazil, when we went to Argentina, no one really warned me that they just don't play by the rules in South America. Like, they will just make shit up. And by that, I mean, I said, I was like skating towards the bench and I said the F word, but like I was like staring at the ground, saying it to myself. Like I made a bad play or something.
Like anybody would.
And I look up and the ref is like screaming at me to go to the penalty box. He's making all these hand symbols that I didn't even recognize. And I'm looking for someone who speaks English. Like, what is going on? Why is this ref screaming at me? He doesn't speak any English. And someone told me that I got a 10-minute major for screaming the F word. Actually, I'm sorry. So I go to the box. No one has told me this yet. Then Patrick Mahoney does the same thing, and he says a swear word, and he gets thrown in the box, and we are freaking out because we have two guys with 10-minute majors. Nobody will tell us what the penalty is. And finally, one of our managers, Dave Marmerstein, comes over to the penalty box. He's like, "Hey, by the way, you can't swear in international play. They're going to give you a penalty." I'm like, "Oh, thank you for telling me that now." But now I know, now I know. So yeah. we were able to learn that. And going into like the Brazil event with the NCRHA All-Americans, I was able to pre-warn everybody, like, they will call you if you swear down there. You can't swear, and they're going to pull some crap. Like, for example, I'm not pointing fingers, but this is the single most insane situation I've ever been a part of. In the championship game of the South American Invitational in Brazil with the NCRHA All-American team, it was 0-0, okay? I got called on a penalty for pushing, okay? That is the word he used to give me a penalty. He actually used the hand motion, push. He said, push. I am very cool, calm, and collected on the rink. I don't swear. I don't speak to the refs. I never get penalties. In my entire NCRHA career, I think I have less than 20 penalty minutes in 4 years. I lost my mind. I was punching I was screaming at scorekeepers, and sorry, but like, yeah, that was it. Those situations like that absolutely form you as a player and as a person, and allow you to go into the next situation with more information. So, that's just something that's very beneficial and something I will always remember for the rest of my life. And I hope I get the opportunity to continue doing it again.
Yeah, a little adversity, unexpected adversity,
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Pushing.
Pushing.
I'm never going to get over that.
I got to teach our refs that, Justin. Pushing.
I'm calling it tonight.
So, I mean, you guys go, right? You guys dominate the regular season. You go into Corona, you play Arizona State, you win playoffs there in Corona, right? Then you end up doing this exhibition game with Bethel, right? Pops out of nowhere. I'm like, oh shit. Like, this is pretty sweet. You don't ever see anyone do it. Right. And I was like, and then
is this the Nashville one?
Yeah. And so, I'm like, it pops up because I'm part of the Nashville page. So one of the guys in there posted the flyer, and I was like, stealing that, throwing that up on our social media. I was like, hell yeah. Right. I was like, I'll be the first one to post this. Probably wasn't, but and people were like, well, why would they do that? Why would they go so far? And I'm like, well, you got to figure, right? Nationals is coming up. They're going to play each other in Nationals. If it makes sense that you got, like, especially y'all can get there, because Bethel is not too far from there,
Mhm.
Like, why not? Why not do a little tune-up, see how you compare going into nationals, right? I mean, was that the whole goal behind it?
You are exactly right. So basically, last year, well, technically, every year, Division One teams are required to do an interregional. Now, they haven't really been enforcing it the last couple of years since COVID, but we went to Chicago last year. That was when we got the opportunity to play Lindenwood and Bethel for the first time. Both games going to overtime. The Bethel game actually going to a shootout. And that was super crucial for us. Like, we needed that so unbelievably bad, and it was it's just honestly just a good change of pace from playing Arizona State 8 times and U of A 5 times, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Which we're very grateful for, being able to play such high level teams all the time and having those teams so close to us. But you want to expand a little bit and get as much outreach and experience as you can. This year we didn't get to do that. The Chicago trip, that's like a $10,000, $12,000 trip for us. It's a lot of money, and we just didn't have that. We just didn't have enough money to do it this year. Plain and simple, it was the only reason we didn't go. We couldn't afford it. Now, once conference championships was over, we won conference championships, which was a huge deal for us. It was Arizona State had a 5-year winning streak on that. We were able to snap that and finish the regular season undefeated against them, which was huge. So we had a lot of wind in our sails. But I knew, as trying to take a step back as a player and look at everything from a bird's eye view, we had just spent our entire regular season, no disrespect to everybody else, but just kind of beating the piss out of everyone in the West Coast, except really for U of A. And we kind of just stomped all over everybody. And I'm serious. I know that sounds bad, but like when you're looking at it from a management perspective, like, you don't want to go into a nationals with gigantic egos when you haven't even seen the 2 best teams in the country, or really anyone who comes close to them. I mean, honestly, the best competition we had all season outside of U of A was a men's league team that beat us in our first game of the year. What we needed was a humbling, really, is what we needed. And I knew that's why it was so important. And the reason we were able to pull this trip off is because we have a player, the guy that scored the game-winning goal in the national championship, Dylan Guy. He lives in Nashville, and he has a big house. And his family has enough vehicles and room for us where we were able to do the whole trip for like $2,500.
Nice.
And it was just flights. All we had to pay for was flights. And the guys were gracious enough to house us. They transported us back and forth. They cooked for us. They made us food. It was absolutely instrumental for our season. I hope we get to do it again next year. It took some real convincing to get Bethel to actually come out and play us. I tried to get Lindenwood to come. What I tried to do is I tried to say, look, we already made it all the way out to Nashville. What if we drove to St. Louis and played Lindenwood too right afterwards? They didn't go for it. That's what I'm telling you. Like, no one does the extra stuff. You have to do the extra stuff. Like, it's so reason? Unbelievably important. I was talking to their captain. It wasn't going directly to the coaches. He just said it's, no way it's going to happen. And you know what? Like, I was there. I know the culture. I understand, their thought processes and what they believe in. And I didn't think it was going to happen, but, I hope that this win is a win for the culture and a win for the community of roller hockey. And everyone now understands that it's the small things, it's the caring, and you have to do the extra stuff if you want all the great things to come towards you and come towards the sport as a whole.
Yeah.
So that was really what that trip was for. So to actually talk about it, shout out to Tyler Kelly, who also made that trip happen. We were about $700 short, and his family came up and just gave us the money, and we named the College Bowl series after him, the Kelly College Bowl. And it was a best of 3 series versus Bethel, but we wanted to play all 3 games no matter what. We got Alkali to throw in some gloves for the MVP, which is hilarious that it went to Kyle Wedbush, the goalie, who can't use the gloves, which I just think is comedy. I didn't really think I had to specify to the guy that I asked to pick that it should probably be a player because the award is gloves, but it's okay. I learned. It's a lesson I have learned, and I will go into next year knowing that.
Just don't get 7680 wheels either.
Exactly. Yeah, no. We'll do something more universal, but maybe a jersey or something. Yeah, we lost all 3 games. Not only did we lose all 3 games, we got whipped all 3 games. We got our butts handed to us. It was not close. Like, even I think the first one of the games was a semi-close score. The game was not close. They were better than us. They were faster than us. They had better plays than us. What really scared us the most is we have a lot of very set power plays, and we ran our first power play, and I have Andrew Ether on the Bethel bench, who apparently has been watching all of our power plays all season, is calling it as we're doing it, telling his players, he's going to skate up and around the top of the circle. He's coming down. He's going to pass it to the left. And I'm there with the puck doing it. I'm like, do I have a live announcer right now? What's going on? And they just read us like a book. And, it just, we needed it. We needed it bad. We needed to lose those games. We needed the humbling. And I think what really actually was the cherry on top of that trip was we played in the Echo tournament right afterwards. Shout out to Bob Bucher, who was able to make that happen. Very instrumental for us. We played in that tournament. It ended up being a platinum level tournament. It was supposed to be like silver. And we really wanted to play in it because we thought it was going to be an easy cup to win for our sponsor. That was really the goal of it. It was like, we were going to play in this, win a cup, so our sponsor will be happy and be able to have reap an actual ROA on their investment in us. And we show up, and Lindenwood is there, and these other platinum level teams in St. Louis in there, and we're like, oh my God, what is going on? We somehow pulled out, ended up in the championship game of the platinum division. In the semifinal, we played the Gremlins from St. Louis, and it ended in a full team brawl after the whistle. I bet. And I still gotta go back on Live Barn and pull that up, but it was full team. Every single player on both teams, it was a brawl, and you know what? That was some great team bonding that ended up being. It was fantastic. We had our starting goalie, Max, just blocker punching guys in the face, and he was standing up for our players. It was a team effort, and not only did we needed to get our asses handed to us in those Bethel games, but we needed to go through some adversity like that as a team, and it was so crucial for us. And I hope we're able to, maybe not a full team fight, but be able to recreate that in seasons to come.
Well, if you want some adversity, playing the Gremlins, any version of them is definitely going to be adversity, because it is probably going to be the most physical game you will ever play.
Well, I'm pretty sure their whole team got banned for life, so maybe we're not playing Echo again.
Because same stuff happens when you play them at nationals and like tours or any other tournament. They are the most physical group that I think I've ever played against, and I've played against some physical guys. And
there's a lot of St. Louis teams that play like that. Not to ruffle too many feathers, but there's a men's league team in St. Louis that plays tournaments sometimes. I got to be honest, I don't know how this team hasn't been banned from every rink on the planet. It's the Riptors. I watched in person one of their players. I don't know what his name is, but he's the largest man on the team. It's can't miss him. Men's league game means absolutely nothing, not even a playoff. Takes a puck in the high slot, staring at the goalie, turns 90 degrees at the ref, takes a slap shot at the ref's face, who's standing at the bench. Ref, one, doesn't flinch. Absolute goat. Secondly, doesn't even call a penalty on this guy because they just do it so often, and they're so dirty. I've had so many of my teammates hurt when we play against them, and I hope to God we never have to see them again in a tournament. But you're right; those St. Louis men's league teams are another breed for sure.
I think the only ones that aren't really as much, because the only ones that are really like on the more dirty side are the Whalers. They're a pretty solid group, and so.
I know the Whalers. Yeah, I like their green. They got green and blue helmets. It's cool.
Yeah. They they got the helmets and they got the gloves, but my Tour Aces team, we got them on the jersey. So we were on the same color scheme, but
gotcha.
When NCRHA comes out and says those are some clean jerseys, then you won.
Oh, absolutely. You got to get that NCRHA stamp of approval.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. But yeah, so you guys go in, right? You get a little bit of humble pie from Bethel, right? And then you go into nationals, right? mean, what's the thought process going into nationals?
I mean, we knew that we were as skill wise, we were around the third best team in the tournament. We knew that we just got our asses kicked by Bethel. We got our asses kicked by a team that was 50% of the Lindenwood D1 team. We didn't even see the full roster, and we were still losing 5-1 both times. That really our goal was to make it to the championship game. That was the goal. And in that process, we were hoping to, I don't know, I guess you would call it be the people's champion, be the team that has the best chance about taking them, being the David that has, that can fling enough rocks at Goliath to make an impact, to make a dent. And truly, I don't think there was anyone on our team that was going with the mindset of, we're going to freaking take down Lindenwood. No, I was in bed laying there before the game. I'm like, you know what? We won the war already. We might not win the battle. We won the war for sure. The culture war, the community war, we won that war. Even if we lose 9-0, this is going to be an incredible experience, and I'm just going to have a bunch of fun. But in the middle of the tournament, Travis Snow commented on one of our videos, and he said something along the lines of, love the Sellies, boys. The team having the most fun usually wins. And we really took that to heart. And really, we were going into this game and be like, we're going to have as much fun as humanly possible. Because this is probably going to be this is the first time any of us have been able to play at this high of a level, this far into a season, this far into a league, or a championship series. And we're just going to enjoy it to our fullest extent. And we enjoyed it to the fullest extent. I mean, 5.5 periods of hockey that you couldn't enjoy anything more than that. I think half of our team, including myself, couldn't even stand up after that game was over. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you go in, right? You go in, start round robin 3-1. You go 3-0, then lose to Lindenwood, right? You then beat Farmingdale. You beat Bethel in the semis. So you got to be feeling good even after the semis. You're like, they didn't kick our ass again, right? And then you pull out what most people thought was never going to happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, morale had to have been pretty high after that semifinals game.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I mean, after that semifinal game, we had now beaten Bethel twice at nationals. So, beating them once was amazing. But keep in mind, we were still 1-3 with them on the year. They still had the upper hand. And when you beat a team one time, it's a fluke, but you beat them twice and it's skill. So being able to beat Bethel twice, with that second game being so close and such a good matchup, absolutely, we were riding a pretty big high. I think a lot of us were worried that we were going to be spent because we had that Bethel game at noon and championship games at 7, and we didn't have a ton of time in between. But yeah, you were right. Morale was very high. We were loving every moment of the experience and loving every moment of being in Auburn, Maine, and making it to the title game, that was the goal. We had achieved our goal by winning that semifinal. And again, that championship game was just going to be playing for as much fun as we could have.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, it was truly the David versus Goliath, right? As much as, as much cliche as you want to be, right? But I guess now, did you end up changing your power play at all, or did you still run the same power play?
I wanted the same answer.
So we changed the power play for the tournament, meaning during round robin and during playoffs. We ran a box, which we had not run all year. We had toyed with it, but we don't run a box. We run a diamond, and we run plays out of the diamond. And so for the championship game, we finally pulled out one of the plays that we had been practicing for 2 years. And it worked. You know what I mean? We have multiple power play plays, especially different deviations of the same play. So we have one play from the left, which is where I stand, and I go up and around the top of the circle, which I'm sure a bunch of people have now seen at this point, And depending on how the other team reacts, we have like 4 different things that can happen. And we practice all 4 of those things. And then we have a play from the right where Ruben stands and he comes around the top. And depending on how the other team reacts, we have 3 or 4 different things that could happen, but we all know them. And so what ended up happening in that championship game was it was the second option that ended up presenting itself as being the best one. And I slid it on over to Frisk, and Frisk took a shot and was able to go top left. And that was it was good to see something like that you had practiced quite literally hundreds and hundreds of times work in such a big game at such a crucial point. And shout out to Richard Garvey, our head coach. That was his play. He watched it. He watched it in a Colorado Avalanche game with Nathan McKinnon, who ran it on a power play. And when he watched it in that NHL game, it actually didn't even work. He got the shot on net though, but didn't go in. So that was, he brought that to our team, and it's been very crucial for us. And Chris Trefty, who was announcing that game, he said he's watched it many times. He's never seen it work. That play has worked a ton. Okay. That during the regular season, those games that are not streamed, that play works all the time. And I hope it continues to work, because there's still, it's not just one play. It's a couple different things that can happen depending on where the other team is. So, yeah, that was how we changed our power play going into that championship game. We were basically holding our cards close to our chest from a strategic standpoint. And again, big shout out to Richard Garvey for doing that from the bench side.
So you said that your team you live stream every single one of your games.
Every single one where we have internet, yes.
Okay. And so where do you live stream them at?
Sure. So last year it was kind of all over the place. I was trying to condense into one place, didn't really work. This year, any games that were not live streamed on the NCRHA TV were live streamed on seasoncast.com/lopesroller. So you can go back and watch every single game we were able to live stream. There were some places we went that the internet just wasn't good enough and we couldn't get it to work, but every place that had internet that we were able to live stream at had it. We do have a live stream guy. His name is Robert Piano. He's an absolute beauty, fantastic commentator, so he makes the games entertaining. When we went down to Yuma, we had a little bit of a blip. We live streamed the whole thing, and the camera or the microphone wasn't set up correctly. So we had someone who announced the whole game, and he did a great job of it too. I was standing right next to him. He was on our bench. Not one word of it came through the stream. So I was I'm upset for him, because he put so much heart and soul into announcing that game. But next year we'll make sure it's right. So, but yeah, that's where our stuff is. Seasoncast.com/lopesroller.
So, right. which leads me to my next question, right? Is Bethel did video work on you, right? You said Ether was calling out everything you guys were doing. Is that something going forward into the next season? Is that something where you're going to have, like you had alternative plays to run the power play, right? To kind of mask what you do all season long? Or is this just kind of like, yeah, we'll have both our options, and if they stop us, they stop us?
That's going to be a Richard Garvey question. That's going to be head coach Garvey question, the Garv father. I think everyone knows that play by now. Now maybe not every single iteration of it, but we're going to definitely have to come up with some new stuff. Always be adapting to the other teams. We do video work on other teams, just like other teams do video work on us, as is expected. With where I'm huge on live streaming, in my eyes, the game isn't even worth playing if it's not live streamed and you're not able to have your fans be able to watch you. So I know that, the other teams that we're playing are going to be watching it and be watching it with a close eye. So always have to be adapting and creating new strategies. And that's what Garvey and Cameron Wojnicki, our assistant coach, is there for.
Okay.
Let's get Garv on here.
Yeah, we can get the coach.
He would love it.
Here. We can get
what?
On here.
Just a heads up. I like to talk. I love talking about roller hockey. The Garv father episode will be 4.5 hours long, and you won't even ask a question. So, just a heads up. I love him with all my absolute heart and soul. I think he's in Slovakia right now, coaching Team Columbia at an IHF tournament. But yeah, you want to get any and all information about roller hockey, he's definitely the guy to go to.
Help us out with that. Tell him to come
Yeah,
on.
absolutely.
I will.
We'll
I'll let him
schedule
know. I'll let him know.
Now,
You still got your boys in the room with you?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say, tell them to come say hi.
Oh no, they actually all left for the golf course.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they got round of cigars and balls.
Still got to celebrate. I mean, it's only what couple days after.
Yeah, we're not even 36 hours later yet.
Yeah.
I don't think.
So, I mean, now you guys, trying to think, y'all. I mean, y'all have played around, right? A lot of different places. Besides, let's say Lindenwood, Bethel, and U of A. I mean, who is the next fourth competitive team to you guys?
Just like in general or in college?
In college.
Well, I mean, if you're talking D1, I think there's a pretty large discrepancy between, at least there was this season, between the top 3 teams and kind of everyone else. So, you know, saying that Lindenwood and Bethel is our top competition, I mean, it really was. It was very, very, very difficult. And then you drop to that 4th or 5th spot, and it's a big drop off. But if you're talking any teams, I mean, yeah, U of A was a huge competitor for us this year. Last year, ASU was our biggest rival. I mean, they beat us 6 out of 8 times. We went 2-6 with them. But obviously that wasn't the storyline this year, but typically they are a very, very, very good program. There's a team out here that we go back and forth with when we do the exhibition games called the Phoenix Impact. They play men's gold. They're really a platinum team. They're kind of sandbagging a little bit, but they're good, and they have a lot of really good players on that roster. And when we get to scrimmage them, it's always a battle, and it's a really good game. There's when we went out to Denver last year, we played the Denver Demon Dogs. We split that series with them 1-1, with our win being in overtime with Rob Woods in net. So that was a really good competition. I mean, there's tons of really good teams all over the country. You know, there's lots of competition to be found. There's so many good roller hockey players in Phoenix and in Arizona in its totality. Like, we have a men's league out here on Sunday nights. That's a cash prize invite only draft league. So the invite only part is kind of the crazy part. I mean, I lived here for almost 2 whole years before I got invited into it. I think our national title win will secure any Lopes player to be able to play in that from now on. But we'll see. I'm going to try and work on that, because this year we only have 3 players, or 5 if you include goalies. But only 3 skaters, me, Frisk, and Ruben. I mean, it's a super high level men's league division. Grand prize is like $2,000 at the end. It's a big deal. A lot of people have fun. Actually, I got the honor of winning it for the second time, like a week before we went to nationals, which was pretty cool. But yeah, as far as like big competition goes, there's competition everywhere. Lindenwood, Bethel, U of A, even Fullerton puts up a pretty big fight when they have their full roster. Kurt Yano in net, Mason Pilkington as their biggest forward. But yeah, I mean, we're hopefully more teams will pop up and we'll have more competition, or more teams will recruit a little bit harder, get their social media game going. And I hope everyone is a competitor at some point.
Now, looking at kind of how D1 is shaped up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see a bunch of guys that came from D1 that now play pro in the North American Circuit of Tours and Arch and State Wars. Why now, from my standpoint, I don't see guys that are necessarily playing D1 end up in pro. I mean, how do we get more of these guys that are playing D1 highest level to go and make that next step to kind of make pro have more competitive teams, right? And, compete against the PAMAs, the Black Ice, the Road Runners, right? How do we make this happen?
Sure. So I think there's a couple of factors that are going into preventing what you're looking for right there. The first one is there are a ton of college players, a ton, even in D1, that don't play in tournaments. They only play college. And there's a ton of tournament only players that don't even know college exists. So there's a huge like wall block of communication between the two of them. And I mean, there's really just a lot of people that just don't know about the other. I mean, we have on our team, we have 2 players who never play in tournaments. We have 1 player who has never played in a tournament.
It's crazy.
And he's only played college, which is hilarious. He has now won an NCRHA Division I national championship before he played in a tournament.
It's crazy.
And he came from like a high school ice hockey background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's I think the other thing that's kind of breaking that is the pro scene in America right now is on the older side. If you look at all the top rosters, you look at Palma, you look at Black Ice, you look at Levada Snipers, you look at all these guys, the whole roster is 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, you know, getting into that the mid-range 30s. And you have these younger players who there's no room for them.
Yeah.
Or unless you're Skittles, who's all young players, Roadrunners, who is all young players, except for, you know, 1 or 2 vets. And yeah, they're competing, but that's it. They're just competing. They're not winning. I mean, how many times is Skittles going to lose in a semifinal game?
Yeah.
So it's really, we're just at a point right now of how many of these older guys are going to stop playing pro. Are you going to see any gigantic roster shifts where, like, you know, I think Eton Chavira just started a new pro team. I don't know if he's playing on it, but for the Dangle Dojo, that new beautiful facility in Southern California. If you've seen anything about it, but it's gorgeous. It is beautiful. And I wish we had something like that out here in Arizona. But he started a pro team out of it, and I'm going to bank money that that's going to be a lot of younger guys.
Yeah.
Palma and Black Ice this year are both coming out with prospect pro teams of all guys under 25. Are they going to win anything? No. But, you know, they could compete.
Yeah.
And they're going to be there ready to play at that level once these guys on Black Ice and Palma decide, all right, I'm 36, you know, I'm slowing down a little bit. You know, maybe I leave this for the next guy. So that's where I feel like we're at right now in the pro scene in America. We're very older guy, we're veteran heavy. And there's just no spots right now for the younger players. I mean, and you look at that on like Team USA too. I mean, last year was kind of the first time you saw more than one young guy on that Team USA roster in the last like decade.
Yeah.
That was different. You know, you saw DiMartino, Delamorte, Halverson, those guys. And I think we saw all those same similar names on this World Games roster as well, going to Italy.
Yeah, the only new one was Eton, and Eton was like, I'm in my 30s. I'm going to hope I get on the team. And he did.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're completely right. I was stoked for him, honestly. Like, I know he wasn't able to have that opportunity for the last couple of go arounds, and he definitely deserves it. I mean, what an incredible player. He's definitely an idol.
Well, and you said something funny, man. I want to touch on it real quick. You said that you don't think they're going to win, right? But why not them?
Why not us? You know what? You are right. And if they instill the ideology that we are building, sure, absolutely. Why not them? But they have to live and breathe by that code. And then yes, absolutely, they have a chance. You are correct. And you know what? I hope the Wheelers and I hope Tyler Shetland, who's running that program, instills that kind of ideology. It's just it's really hard to bring that kind of culture to a team that's all ice hockey kids. You know what I mean? Like, they're just you got to get over that major hump of it's just roller. And when you have 18 of them, you know, like that makes that hump a mountain. And I don't know if Tyler that's something he wants to do. I hope it is. And I hope he's successful in that if he decides to do that. But you're right. You are absolutely right. I hope they instill that ideology.
Well, and I feel like a lot of new teams, right, that come into the pro scene that actually get the chance to, I feel like they got to go through the Skittles and the Roadrunners, what they went through, which is getting shit kicked for several years, right? Going over in round robin, getting shit kicked by, being given the hardest schedules over and over again in round robin and not even making playoffs, playing PAMA and Black Ice, and all the other, whether it's Car Shield or the Snipers, depending on which tournament you're in, and wanting to go back.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a huge thing too, right? Is just, all right, we got shit kicked. Do we want to do this again? Yeah, it was fun. Okay, let's do it again, right? And then finding like that first win. And so, and that's why you look at Blood and Feathers, right? They're still looking for their first win.
Absolutely.
But they keep going back.
They keep going back.
And I hope they can get their first win. And I hope they can make the playoffs because, it's Nicky Whiteock's goodbye tour. Right. So I hope they can rally behind them. And, who knows? We may even see me get my rookie lap that Ken's been promising me lately. But, I doubt it. They might pull that.
You never know. Why not you?
That's right. Why not?
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, and I feel like going with the Wheelers, right, and in the pro scene, they did pull some roller guys from the NSIHL, right?
NSIHLA, I think.
Okay, right, and so which that team played in NCRHA pro scene as well. So they got some guys that got some experience that they're pulling some roller guys, and which is good because if you have a full ice team, I just don't think it works.
You're right, and you know what? That's how that Champion Wheelers team started. I mean, they started as Epic Society, the Epic Factory team, and that first tournament, I'm pretty sure I was the only kid that was a roller guy, and everyone else was ice kids. And honestly, that's why we didn't do super hot. We lost to the Denver Demon Dogs with Rob Woods and the University of Denver kid whose name I'm completely blanking on right now, Kyle something. Kyle Mayhew, thank you. But then they made some roster changes. They kicked me off and pulled up some better players, and now that they're getting some more true roller guys, I hope they can fix that dynamic and that chemistry. So definitely needed.
No, maybe national championship. Maybe you get the recall. Who knows?
Who knows? I don't know. I think I'm gonna very gracefully and happily step into a Grand Canyon University management role and end on a high note. I mean, how could I end on any higher note than Miracle on Tile? You know what I mean?
That's true.
So I know that personally one of my biggest struggles is trying to be the best manager, instill all of these morals and create all the merch and get all the travel together and find all the opportunities and do all the sponsors and make all the videos and do all the social media and try to be the best freaking athlete in the league. You know what I mean? That's doing all those and trying to play is really just it is a lot, and it has taken a lot of years off of my life for sure. And don't get me wrong, I would not have traded this experience for anything in the world. But I do know that I can create more opportunities and create a better program with more things and more money and more sponsors and more players and more and better things if I was not also trying to play. So I believe that is the role I am going to try and step into. And I think I'll do quite a solid job, and I hope the fellas are happy with that. And our recruitment palette looks really good for next season anyway, so I'm not even really worried.
So are you done after this season? Are you eligibility out?
So I actually have 2 more years of eligibility if I want to take it. NCRHA eligibility is crazy. You not only do you get 5 years, but a lot of people who are playing right now, they had a COVID year, so that my first year didn't even count. And on top of that, it's non-consecutive. So you could have a 40-year-old dude who played 2 or 3 years of college roller he still has 2 or 3 years of college eligibility left. He can come back and play for a JUCO, and that's totally allowed. And you know what? I am shocked. I hope someone clips this and posts this somewhere. Please clip what I'm about to say.
You got it.
If you have never played college roller, no, I don't care how old you are, or you've only played a couple of years, it is so easy to start a junior college team. You can go to any junior college near you, near a rink, and say, I want to start a sports team. 99.9% of the time, they're going to let you do it. They're not going to give you any money, which is fine. You only need to take 2 classes, which means as a student, you're spending like $600 a semester, which is nothing. And then you're playing college roller, taking 2 JUCO classes, which shouldn't be too difficult, and you're chilling. Yeah. And I mean, you could imagine taking your men's league team and you're like, you know what? Screw it. We're going to play collegiate roller hockey. We're all going to go to Scottsdale Community College. We're going to be the Fighting Artichokes. And we're going to have gross uniforms. And we're going to have the time of our goddamn lives. And we're going to, because you're a JUCO, you have a guaranteed bid to nationals. So you're going to get to go to nationals no matter if you go 0-20. It doesn't matter. It's a great time. Do it. Everybody do it. Go to your local JUCO and start a team right now. There's one team right now, one JUCO, and they're awesome. Cool. But yeah, it's the Tour Aces college team now.
You know, and actually,
you actually read it out of our playbook. We've been talking about this.
We've actually talked about it. We've actually were like, all right, can we pull this off?
It's so easy.
First we went through. We're like, all right, who's got college eligibility? And I was like, well, technically I do. I have 4 years. We got a couple of guys that have played for Tennessee and played in Florida and stuff like that we play with. They might be out of eligibility, unsure, but they still might have a couple years left. We're like, can we do this? And now guys are starting to have kids, and we're like,
we would be the oldest team.
We 100%.
Okay. It doesn't matter. We need more teams in the league. We need more teams. And you know what? You are hard pressed to find people who are actually out of eligibility. Here's the only 2 ways you're out. One, you've played 5 years of collegiate roller and none of them were COVID. That's the one way. Or you have a player who's played in Europe for more than 3 or 4 years.
We're doing it.
That's it. Those are the only 2 ways you're out. Other than that, like most people go to college for 4 years, right? Even if you played all 4, you've got another year of eligibility. And if you're playing right now and you have 4 years, that means your first year, or maybe your first 2 years were both COVID. Now you got 2 more years, like me. And so there's damn near everybody still got eligibility. All right. So, Travis Snow still has eligibility. Oh my God, I had the funniest idea at the beginning of this season. There was rumors that a specific person was going to go play for Lindenwood for like their 9th year or something. And I was about to lose it. And I was going to reach out to Travis. I'm like, look, Travis, you don't even need to enroll in school. Just let me post that we signed you for next year, and we'll be able to change this freaking eligibility rule, because Lindenwood is going to lose their minds that we just signed Travis Snow. And you know what? I think he would have gone for it. I think he would have been like, you know what? For the good of the game, screw it. Go do it. But yeah, start a JUCO team. We have 1 JUCO team right now. There better be 5 by next year, at least. Well, after this podcast.
Well, and so we have some buddies that we play with and we live near, and we play in our men's league, and they played out of WCU, Western Carolina, right? University. Okay. And so they were only a couple years they played, and then their kind of team liquidated. But there was a rule, and I think NCRHA took it out, that was like, hey, if you're going to if you're at like a community college and your school doesn't have a team, you can then go and play with the nearest school that has a team or something like that. But I don't think it exists anymore.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that anymore. Interesting. I didn't know that. I'll bring it up to them.
Because they they're at a university, and they scrapped together a team from like community colleges and stuff like that. Just because there was that rule that was like, hey, you can grab from local smaller colleges that don't have teams.
I'll definitely ask. Yeah, I don't know how that would work. I know in the ACHA, there's a way that you can do that at my local school. There's so our local ACHA team is Cal Lutheran University. They're atrocious. But for the longest time, they were allowed to pull from Moore Park Junior College, which it got so bad that like 90% of their roster was from Moore Park and like 10% was from Cal Lutheran. Because Cal Lutheran is like $60,000 a year and Moore Park is $300 a credit.
Yeah.
So so there's a big difference. This is all the ice hockey kids are going to Moore Park and playing for Cal Lu, and yeah. So I'll bring it up to him. That's a good point.
Yeah. It's just we've ran all the scenarios.
Well, find a scenario that ends up with a JUCO team out of your rink.
All right, deal.
Yeah.
Deal.
We'll do our best.
Sounds good. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to help.
We'll do.
You guys have to come and play us though. Help us
Down.
with some clout.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. North Carolina sounds like fun.
It's the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
We got the casino nearby.
Perfect. That's all we need.
Yeah. Well, Justin, I think you want to hit him with some rapid fire, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up.
I think we probably should.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Don't think too much about these. Just quick answers. Whatever rolls off the tongue.
Sounds good.
They're kind of random too. How much does gear matter?
Oh, a ton. Well, specific gear. Wheels, skates, stick. 3 most important things. Everything else, not so much. I wear lacrosse elbow pads.
Very cool.
And there
Do you
is
wear a cup?
Yeah, do you wear a cup?
I wear a cup now. I did not wear a cup the entire time I played at Lindenwood.
Oh,
Gee, this is just something I've been learning. Is I'm amazed at the amount of guys that are like, screw it.
It's just so much more comfortable without it. But
yeah.
once you get up into the higher divisions and I don't really block shots, but sometimes I block them on accident. And I would like to have kids at some point. So,
Well, and going back to the gear part, there is someone in the roller hockey world that wears like soccer shin guards and just tapes them to his shins.
that's crazy.
That's Tardino.
Oh my God. Oh, that's insane. No, couldn't do that.
Yeah, it might be a little bigger than a soccer shin guard, but it's not very big.
Well, I know Nicholas Delamorte buys like youth size shin guards, and there's from the top of his skate to the bottom of his shin guard is about 4 to 5 inches of just flesh and shin bone.
Oh,
So
no.
he's also insane for that. He claims it's better for his ankle mobility.
Sure.
I will sacrifice that ankle mobility to continue to have my foot.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, next question. Best sports film or show ever?
Well, I think we as a team watched Miracle on Ice 6 times in the 4 days we were at Nationals, and then again watched it when we got back. So I gotta say Miracle on Ice.
Heck yeah.
But
Until the Miracle on Tile comes out.
until
right?
Miracle on Tile comes out, if someone is at Hulu and they want to sell some movie rights, we need the funding. I will sell the movie rights.
All right, man. Do you have a pump up song?
Not song, but genre. When I need to change the mood, both for myself and for the locker room, 2000s female-led pop hits. We're talking Rihanna, we're talking Beyonce, we're talking 2000s female-led pop hits where we know every single word and can sing at the top of our lungs.
Okay.
Perfect. What do you do to relax? You're a busy guy.
Great question. I love doing athletic recovery. I know it's not the answer that a lot of people like, but like throwing on the Normatec pants and letting them massage your legs out for a while. Epsom salt bath, big fan. We got jacuzzis on campus, big fan. Sleeping in, great. Sleep's always awesome. Just relaxing, honestly. Just like it's big fan.
All right. Who is your role model growing up?
I think growing up just in general, was definitely my dad. He is a serial entrepreneur, And for the majority of my life, and I would still say even today, that's something I think that I've modeled a lot of what I do. Probably everything that I do after, and I owe him everything. Just watching how he builds companies and projects, and it's awesome, and definitely something I model myself after. And he was big into he's still around, he's still here, but he big into sayings and phrases and and stories like that. And I think I took after that a lot, and I've got a lot of good phrases that I like, and a lot of good sayings that I bring into team meetings and team speeches, and definitely stories. I'm a big into storytelling. I love both literally, like sitting down in a group and telling stories, and figuratively, like telling a story through a brand and telling it through an ideology and things like that.
Okay.
I like that.
But
I
then
can
on the rink, Tino for sure. It's why I'm number 9.
Very cool. And I really recognize that through the rest of our conversation, that you have a very entrepreneurial mindset. I wanted to dub you like the Steve Jobs of roller. The way that you're like, I have this system, I know how I'm doing it, I'm going to build this company. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but
I love
I
it.
like
I'll take that.
But look at how much you put into just Bronson roller, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the details behind the scenes, that all the statistics that you run and everything is insane.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I was again very big small details guy, and so like with the Bronson thing, we were when I was coming up with the idea of it, like it had to be a middle-aged white guy, because if it was coming from Aydin Schwetz, no one would have listened to me. If it was coming from a diverse person, no one was going to listen to them. It had to be a middle-aged white guy that looked like he was doing this from his basement, and it had to. I know this was way too much, but I enjoyed it. I enjoy doing the small details. I made a list. I'll go find it somewhere. I made a list of words and sentences that old men use, and like the sentence structure of how they text. And I was taking like Donald Trump's tweets and like modeling how he structures his sentences, and like I was looking at like the text that my dad sends me, and then my friend's dad sent me, and I was like the pace of the sentence, like I was going that deep into it to make sure that no one was going to figure out that it was me. And if you go back to the tweets from when people didn't know it was me, and the pace of the sentence and the structure of the sentence is a lot different than it is now, because now everyone knows it's me, and there's no point in keeping up the facade. No. Details matter.
I love it. That segues nice into here, and maybe the answer to this is actor, because it sounds like you studied the script and everything for that character. But if you weren't a hockey player, what would you do? Hockey never came up in your life.
Sure. Entrepreneur of some kind for sure. I will say when roller is over, or when I, stop having the desire to make a career out of this, I will definitely become a farmer. 100%. I worked on a farm, Apricot Lane Farms in Moore Park, California, for about 2 years. It was the greatest experience of my life, outside of hockey. It was totally life-changing. I loved every minute of it. Just being out in the field, working with cattle, being eating fruit off of a vine. Like, it was just completely different experience. And so outside of hockey, farming and agriculture. That actually, when I was at Arizona State, that was my major. I was a ranch management major. Cool. And I had a class at ASU I never got to take that I really wish I did. It was just called Beef. And I thought it was so hilarious. That was the title of the class. It was just Beef.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I'm big into agriculture. I love that kind of thing. I love being out in nature. And so afterwards, that's definitely what I'll be. But for this point in my life, I know I'm young enough and I have enough energy to do something bigger than growing corn and soybeans. So I've decided to go down the path of roller. And if If it wasn't hockey, it would be some other kind of entrepreneurial space. When I was 18, I started a commercial real estate marketing company called Vidiums.com, and I grew that pretty big, and ended up selling it within a year. So probably something along those lines.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This is a second to last one I have for you. What do you feel like your primary duty of being the captain of your team is?
The culture, for sure. Fostering the culture, fostering the ideology in every single one of these kids' heads, and drilling it as much as possible. Even I think it's more important than creating extra opportunities. I think it's more important than having good practices. I think all of that comes into the culture, but the culture and the ideology of the team is paramount to everything. Because it's really just something that like I really didn't experience at Lindenwood. I think the best thing that came out of the best thing that Lindenwood has is all of the guys on the team are beauties. They're all of them are awesome. And I don't want to take anything away from any of the individual players. Like I really enjoyed spending all the time that I spent with them. They're very cool people. Going out with them, like the individuals of the program have a good culture, but the program itself, I feel like didn't. And I think that was the major difference in the thing that I wanted to bring here. So that's the primary focus as the captain, and I think as the manager, is to keep pushing the culture.
I love it.
I respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Only one more. It's a little tough.
Go for it.
Did you have a good time?
On the pod or from the championship?
Both. I know you had a good time at the championship. I saw the videos of you guys celebrating.
Oh yeah. No, I love the podcast. Any opportunity that I get to ramble on about roller hockey for an hour and 57 minutes, I'm gonna take that opportunity. Like I love talking about roller hockey. Like I talked about earlier, like storytelling is one of my favorite things to do off the rink. They're usually a little bit more 18 plus X-rated stories, but they're storytelling nonetheless. And anything that I can do to, like everyone says, grow the game, push the culture, and show everyone that like this ideology that has now been proven to work can work for you too. It can work for your college team. It can work for your Pi-Ha team. It can work for your high school team, your men's league team, whatever it is. We need to change. We need to better the culture. I don't want to take away from it, because there's always that aspect of the roller hockey culture that's going to be surfer dude smoking weed before a silver game or having beers in the lot. Never want to take that away from the sport. It's absolutely necessary, and you need to have that fun aspect of it. But right now, I feel like that's the only aspect of the culture that we have, and we don't have the dichotomy of the serious side of it. Every other sport has both. You have the men's leagues, you have the beer leagues, you have the lot, you have the surfer guys, you have the relaxed side, but you also have the serious side. You have the guys that take it seriously, you have the guys that hit the gym, you have the guys that dedicate their lives to it, and our sport doesn't have that. And if it does, it's not even a shred of the percentage that other sports have it at. So that's the side I'm pushing. I know I'm a fairly serious person.
That was great.
But that's why. It's because it's what's lacking, and it's what is needed. And yes, I'm very much going to enjoy the celebration of this championship, but when it's time to get back to work and it's time to work for next season, then it's going to be right back down to business and making sure we push that side of the culture once again.
Hell yeah, we want to see another.
But yes, to answer your question, had a friggin' blast. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Hell yeah.
And if you're watching, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave your thoughts in the comments. We always go back and read them. Remember, if you're for check-in in roller hockey, don't let up, because there's no offsides. I'm Dan Dean.
I'm Justin Wood.
Aydin Schwetz.
thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate you. Had a blast.
Very much appreciated. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, check you later, man.
Lopes up.
Yeah, Lopes up, baby.
Includes Blake. It's returned by Edelbrook. Edelbrook had a poke off his stick and a shot. They scored. Dylan Guy wins it in overtime. The Lopes national champions.
Guys, here with Aydin Schwetz, the captain, coming over from Lindenwood, the transfer, and just tell us how this feels.
There are no words. They can call us crazy. They can call us dumb. They can call us insane. But they can never call us loser.
Wow, that's a statement and a half. Back up to you guys.
Ladies